Embry Bednar. Last home game, for those who watch the channel regularly, Embry Bednar pitched a no-hitter against Seward, 6 innings. No-hitter there, as the Titans beat the Blue Jays 9-1. First pitch to the Fuse is a ball, 1-0 the count to Cam DeBooze. Strike one to DeBooze. 1-1 the count to Cam DeBooze. 77 degrees here at the Norris Softball Stadium with a 6-mile-an-hour wind coming from the northwest. One pitch is swung on and missed. Strike two. 1-2 the count to Cam DeBooze, who's batting .385 on the year with 10 hits and 26 at-bats, 9 runs, 4 RBIs, and 2 doubles for the shortstop. Swung on and missed. Strike three. The first punchy of the night for Embry Bednar. That'll bring to the plate number 3, Lily Maxwell, the designated player. One out here in the top of the first inning. Titans last weekend played in the Papillion La Vista South Invitational, where they first pitch to Maxwell is taken for a strike. 0-1 the count to Lily Maxwell, where they beat Grand Island 7-0. Lost to Helis Catholic in Missouri 7-2. Lost to Blair 9-8, and beat Bing, Oklahoma 8-0. 0-2 the count to Maxwell after the foul ball. Fouled off. 0-2 the count to Lily Maxwell. Maxwell's batting .500 on the year with 13 hits and 26 at-bats. Takes ball one. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bednar. Swung on, hit to the third baseman, Seabrand, who makes a big leaping grab. And that'll bring to plate number 23, Reese Pearson, the catcher. Pearson's batting a very high .560 on the year with 14 hits and 25 at-bats, 14 runs, 6 doubles, 2 triples, and 2 home runs. Here's the first pitch to Pearson. Takes ball one. 1-0 the count to Reese Pearson. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Bednar. In the dirt ball 2. 2-0 the count now to Reese Pearson. Titans playing deep. Here's the 2-0 pitch from Bednar. Swung on and missed. Strike one. 2-1 the count now to Reese Barons. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Bednar. Swung on and missed. Strike two. Paige Asher on deck for the Wolves. 2-2 the count to Pearson with 2 outs here in the top of the first inning. Here's the 2-2 pitch. High ball 3 to Pearson. Full count. Here's the payoff pitch from Embry Bednar. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Two punchy inning for Embry Bednar. And heading into the bottom of the first inning, it's Wolves 0, Titans 0.
3 up and 3 down for the Titans in the top of the first. To the plate for the Titans in the bottom of the first will be Behrens, Mackey, and Carlo. Again, a reminder to our Norris fans and our guests from Elkhorn North. The concession stand is open and is located just behind the grandstand. Restrooms are at Titan Stadium. Again, leading off for the Titans, your designated player tonight, number 2, Reese.
Leading off for the Titans here in the bottom of the first inning, it'll be number 2, Reese Behrens, followed by Liv Mackey and Myra Carlo. Here's the first pitch to Behrens. High ball 1-0 the count to Reese Behrens. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Behrens. In there, strike 1 called, 1-1 the count now to Reese Behrens, with the catcher Liv Mackey on deck. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Behrens. Swung on and missed, strike 2. 1-2 the count now to Behrens. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Jardine. Swung on, hit up the middle, and it's a base hit. Single for Behrens. Leadoff runner is on for the Titans, and that'll bring to plate number 7, Liv Mackey.
Number 7, Liv Mackey.
Mackey's batting .400 on the year for the Titans. 16 hits and 40 at-bats, 1 run, 10 RBIs, 5 doubles, and a triple. Here's the first pitch from Jardine. Take strike 1. Mackey takes strike 1. 0-1 the count to Liv Mackey. On deck for the Titans, number 16, Myra Carlo. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Shows bunt, pulls it back. Takes strike 2. 0-2 the count out of Mackey. Titans looking to get on the board early here in the bottom of the first inning. Runner on first, nobody out, 2 strikes to Mackey. Here's the Jardine steps on the mound. I don't expect Mackey to bunt here, but here's the 0-2 pitch. Just outside, ball 1, 1-2 the count now to Mackey. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Jardine gets the strikeout. And that'll bring to plate number 16,
Strikes out.
Myra Carlo.
Brings to the plate your third baseman, number 16, Myra Carlo.
Carlo hitting .529 on the year with 18 hits and 34 at-bats, 12 runs, 11 RBIs, 4 doubles, a triple, and 2 home runs. Here's the first pitch to Carlo. In there, strike one called. 0-1 the count to Myra Carlo. Barron still on first for the Titans. Jardine steps back on the mound. And here's the 0-1 pitch to Carlo. Low ball 1-1 the count now to Myra Carlo. With Haley McMurray on deck. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike two. 1-2 the count now to Myra Carlo. Jardine looks at the scouting report. Comes set. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Myra Carlo. High ball 2-2 the count now. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to left fielder Schneider, who's under it and makes the catch for the second out of the inning.
Fly out to left field. Brings their second out to the inning.
Brings to the plate number 15, Haley McMurray, with the runner on first and 2 outs.
Their shortstop, number 15, Haley McMurray.
McMurray's batting .278 on the year, with 10 hits and 36 at-bats, 5 RBIs, 3 doubles, and a home run. Here's the first pitch to McMurray. Inside, ball 1-0 the count to Haley McMurray. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike one call, 1-1 the count now to McMurray. Here's the 1-1 pitch. In there, strike two called, 1-2 the count now to McMurray. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Outside, ball 2, throw down to second. Not in time. Looks like the shortstop, DeBooz, missed the tag a little bit there on Barron's.
Barron's still second.
So runner on second now. 2-2 count to McMurray. Here's the 2-2 pitch. In the dirt, ball 3. Full count now to Mackey with Leah Ozenbaugh on deck. Here's the payoff pitch from Jardine. Swung on, hit in the air to left center field. That ball's deep, that ball's back, and it's over the fence. A 2-run home run for Haley McMurray. And the Titans strike first here in the bottom of the first inning. It'll be Titans 2, Wolves 0.
The Titans will lead 2-0 in the bottom of the first. Next to the plate, your left fielder, number 12.
They'll bring to plate number 12, Leah Ozenbaugh, the left fielder tonight for the Titans. Ozenbaugh is batting .381 on the year with 8 hits and 21 at-bats, 9 RBIs, 1 run, sorry, not 1 run, 9 runs, 1 double, 1 triple, and 2 home runs. 1-0 the count early to Ozenbaugh as Jardine falls behind. Outside, ball 2, 2-0 the count out to Ozenbaugh. Here's the 2-0 pitch. High ball 3, full, sorry, not full count. 3-0 the count out to Ozenbaugh. 21 pitches so far this inning for Jardine. Here's the 3-0 pitch. In there, strike 1. 3-1 the count to Leah Ozenbaugh. Here's the 3-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called. Full count out to Ozenbaugh. And here's the payoff pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Ozenbaugh behind on that one. And heading into the top of the second inning, Titans get 2, Wolves 0.
Elkhorn North Wolves 0. As we head to the top of the second, it'll be Asher and Daubert and Phelan for the Wolves.
Batting for the Wolves here in the top of the second inning, it'll be Paige Asher followed by Kelsey Daubert and Delaney Phelan. Number 13, Paige Asher up to bat for the Wolves. She's batting .471 on the year with 8 hits and 17 at-bats, 1 run, 5 RBIs, and a home run. 1-0 the count to Asher. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Bednar. Swung on, hit up the middle, right back to Bednar. She bobbles it off the glove. So it'll be a runner on first early for the Wolves. Now brings the plate in number 40, Kelsey Daubert.
Asher brings to the plate. Your first baseman, number 40, Kelsey Daubert.
First pitch to Daubert is a strike. 0-1 the count to Kelsey Daubert. Here's the 0-1 pitch, swung on and fouled off. 0-2 the count now to Daubert. Daubert's batting .214 on the year with 3 hits and 14 at-bats, 1 run, 8 RBIs. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Daubert. Swung on, hit to the second baseman. Schmuddy over to second. Gets the lead runner. So it'll be a fielder's choice for Daubert.
First out of the inning. Your center fielder, number 17.
That'll bring to plate number 17, Delaney Phelan. Phelan's batting .520 on the year with 13 hits and 25 at-bats, 11 runs, 6 RBIs, 3 doubles, and a triple. First pitch to Phelan is bunted to Seabrandt over to first, not in time because it came out of whoever was covering first glove. It was Schmuddy who was covering first. Came out of Schmuddy's glove, and then it looked like maybe Phelan turned the wrong way, and Schmuddy put the tag on Phelan, but it was also not in time. So it'll be a bunt single for Delaney Phelan. Runners on first and second for the Wolves. As Peyton Johnson comes up to bat, it's another bunt over down to first in time for the second out of the inning. Sack bunt there. That was a 3-4 putout. That brings plate number 24, Naomi Cameron. Runners on second and third, and 2 outs for Cameron. First pitch to Cameron is low ball 1. 1-0 the count to Naomi Cameron. The senior's batting .238 on the year with 5 hits and 21 at-bats, 4 runs, 7 RBIs, and a double. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike 1 called. 1-1 the count now to Naomi Cameron. Bednar comes set, and here's the 1-1 pitch to Cameron. Swung on and missed, strike 2. 1-2 the count now to Cameron. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bednar. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Third punch of the day for Bednar. And that one gets the Titans out of a jam. Wolves coming knocking on the door. Will get runners on second and third, but can't score, and the Titans still lead going into the bottom of the second inning, 2-0. Batting for the Titans here in the bottom of the second inning will be Keelan Yelkin, followed by Ava Schmuddy and Kinsey Seabrandt.
Leadoff hitter in the bottom of the second for the Titans. Your right fielder, number 10, Keelan Yelkin.
First pitch to Yelkin is a ball. 1-0 the count to Keelan Yelkin, who's batting .355 on the year with 11 hits and 31 at-bats, 9 runs, 6 RBIs, 3 doubles. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Outside, ball 2. 2-0 the count now to Yelkin. Jardine comes set, and here's the 2-0 pitch. In there, strike one called, 2-1 the count now to Yelkin. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Outside, ball 3, 3-1 the count now to Yelkin. Here's the 3-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called to Yelkin, and it'll be a full count. Nobody on, nobody out for the Titans here in the bottom of the second inning. Here's the payoff pitch. Ball 4 walk, and it's a leadoff walk for the Titans. And that'll bring to plate number 1, Ava Schmuddy, the second baseman tonight for the Titans. First pitch to Schmuddy is taken for a strike. 0-1 the count to Ava Schmuddy. Shows bunt it's foul. 0-2 the count now to Schmuddy. Don't expect Ava Schmuddy to bunt with 2 strikes. Kinsey Seabrand on deck for the Titans. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled off. Count will remain at 0-2. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Ball 1, 1-2 the count now to Schmuddy. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Low ball 2, 2-2 the count now to Schmuddy. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Outside, ball 3, full count out of Schmuddy, who has worked her way back in the count after being down 0-2. Runner on first, nobody out for the Titans. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, hit to left field. It'll stay fair, get by the left fielder. It'll roll to the wall. Yelkin's going to stop at third. It's going to be a double for Ava Schmuddy. That'll bring to plate number 8, Kinsey Seabrand.
Number 8 is third baseman, Kinsey Seabrand.
Seabrand's batting .206 on the year with 7 hits in 34 at bats, 6 runs, 6 RBIs, 3 doubles and a home run. First pitch to Seabrand is taken for a strike. 0-1 the count to Kinsey Seabrand with Marley Pavelka on deck. Runners on second and third and nobody out for the Titans. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Outside, ball 1, 1-1 the count now to Seabrand. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Low ball 2, 2-1 the count now to Seabrant. Jardine steps back on the mound, and here's the 2-1 pitch. Outside, ball 3, 3-1 the count now to Seabrant. Here's the 3-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called, full count to Seabrant. It's also homecoming week here in Norris. Multiple events leading up to the eventual homecoming football game against Lincoln Northwest. Fouled off from Seabrant, and the count will remain the same at 3-2. Earlier today at Norris, the 8th grade football team played, I believe. And happening right now is a volleyball game at Norris. Three-two pitch is taken for a ball, and they'll be loaded for Marley Pavelka.
Number 4, center fielder, Marley Pavelka.
In that volleyball games against Gretna East. That game should have just started. So Pavelka up to bat for the Titans. 44 pitches so far for Jardine. Pavelka's batting .346 on the year with 9 hits and 26 at-bats, 14 runs, 6 RBIs, and a double. Here's the first pitch to Pavelka. High ball 1, 1-0 the count to Marley Pavelka. Bases loaded, nobody out for the Titans here in the bottom of the second inning. Here's the 1-0 pitch. High ball 2, 2-0 the count now to Pavelka. After Pavelka, it'll be the top of the lineup in Reese Behrens. Here's the 2-0 pitch. In there, strike 1 called, 2-1 the count now to Pavelka. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled down the right field line, and the count's now 2-2. Jardine comes set, and here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hit in the air. Caught by the catcher, Pearson, for the first out of the inning. And that'll bring to plate number 2, Reese Behrens, who's 1 for 1 on the day with a single in the first and later a stolen base, and later scored on the Haley McMurray 2-run home run. That's the only scoring so far today for either team. But still early here in the bottom of the second. Here's the first pitch to Behrens. Swung on, hit down the left field line. It'll be fair. It'll roll into the corner. 1 run will score. 2 runs will score. Here comes Seabrant around third. Took about 3 steps down the line. The throw was a good one to the catcher, Pearson. And Seabrant goes diving back into third. But the Titans will take a 4-0 lead on that RBI double from Reese Behrens. That'll bring to plate number 7, Liv Mackey. So the early walks from Jardine do come to hurt the Wolves, as it's now 4-0. And it looks like they'll be A pitching substitution. Looks like it's number 13, Paige Asher, into pitch. So Jardine done early at 50 pitches. As Paige Asher comes into pitch. I'd like to take this time to thank NSTV broadcast sponsors and Bruns Construction, Gaina Trucking and Excavating, Norris Association of Educators, First State Bank, Impact Athletics, Renee Goodhart with Remax Concepts, Genesis Contracting, Sandy Shields with Nebraska Realty, Scott Cohote with Mutual of Omaha, Price's Tree Farm, Proformance Physical Therapy, Pro Swip Solutions, U-Stop, Venue 522, and the Norris Athletic Booster Club. Also special thanks to Hausman Construction for being our scoreboard sponsor, and to Provision Chiropractic and Wellness for sponsoring our replays. If you are enjoying tonight's free broadcast, please consider donating to us through our PayPal account. Links to donate can be found in the description of our videos, or by visiting our website at norris160.org/NSTV. Donors will be mentioned in our future broadcasts. Donors of $25 or more will receive an NSTV t-shirt. So Asher into pitch for now for the Wolves. Titans up 4-0. It'll be Liv Mackey up to bat. She's 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first.
Again, Asher in the pitch for the Wolves, brings to the plate your catcher, number 7, Liv Mackey.
Asher's been the Wolves' main pitcher this year. She's made 8 appearances. She has a 5-2 record. Started 5 games. Pitched 31 innings. Given up 15 runs on 25 hits. 23 walks, 51 strikeouts. First pitch to Mackey is a strike. 0-1 the count to Liv Mackey. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Titans in lead 4-0. Runners on second and third. 1 out. 0-2 the count now to Mackey. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Inside, ball 1. 1-2 the count to Mackey. Myra Carlo on deck for the Titans. Here's the 2-1 pitch. In there, strike 3 called. First punch of the day for Asher. That brings the plate number 16, Myra Carlo. Here's the first pitch to Carlo. In there, strike 1 called. Carlo is 0 for 1 on the day with a fly out to the left fielder back in the first inning. Haley McMurray is on deck for the Titans. Ball 1. 1-1 the count now to Carlo. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Asher. Ball 2. 2-1 the count now to Carlo. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Inside, ball 3. 3-1 the count now to Carlo. Here's the 3-1 pitch once Asher steps on the mound. Now here's the 3-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 2. Full count now to Carlo. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to a shallow center fielder. That ball will get down for a base hit. 1 run will score, 2 runs will score. The throw to the shortstop gets behind the shortstop over to the third baseman, Cameron. And it's a single from Myra Carlo. And the Titans take a 6-0 lead.
Shortstop, number 15, Haley McMurray.
That brings plate number 15, Haley McMurray. Two outs for the Titans here in the bottom of the second, 6-0. Strike 1 to McMurray. Runner on first for the Titans also. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Asher. Outside, ball 1, 1-1 the count now to Haley McMurray. Here's the 1-1 pitch. High and outside, ball 2, throw down to the first baseman, Daubert. Carlo gets back safely. 2-1 the count now to McMurray with Leah Ozenbaugh on deck. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Asher. Inside, ball 3, 3-1 the count now to McMurray. Here's the 3-1 pitch from Asher. Low ball 4, and McMurray's on with a walk.
2-out walk.
Norris has runners on first and second with the left fielder, number 12, Leah Ozenbaugh on deck. Sorry, up to bat. She's 0 for 1 on the day with a strikeout in the first. First pitch to Ozenbaugh is high, ball 1, 1-0 with the count to Leah Ozenbaugh. Asher steps back on the mound, and here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike 1 called. 1-1 the count now to Ozenbaugh. Here's the 1-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called. 1-2 the count now to Ozenbaugh. Titans have batted around here in the bottom of the second. Sent 9 up to the plate. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Inside, ball 2. 2-2 the count now to Ozenbaugh. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Just inside, ball 3. Ozenbaugh holds up. And it's a full count to Leah Ozenbaugh. Here's the payoff to Ozenbaugh. Swung on, hit to left field. It's down for a base hit. Carlo's going to come around third. McMurray's going to stop at third. It's going to be a double for Ozenbaugh. It'll bring another run in. And that's going to make it 7-0 on the RBI double from Leah Ozenbaugh. McMurray kind of tripped rounding around third, but luckily is back at third safely. That brings plate number 10, Keelan Yelkin, who walked in her lone plate appearance in the second. Here's the first pitch to Yelkin. In there, strike one. 0-1 the count to Keelan Yelkin. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Outside, ball one. 1-1 the count now to Yelkin. Asher steps back on the mound, and here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, hit in the air. Second baseman Johnson's under it, makes the catch for the third out of the inning. Not before the Titans plate 5, and heading into the top of the third, it's Titans 7, Wolves 0. Batting for the Wolves here in the top of the third inning, it'll be Addie Schneider, followed by Cam DeBooze and Lily Maxwell. First pitch to Schneider.
Play number 4, Addie Schneider.
Ball one to Schneider. 1-0 the count to Addie Schneider. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Embry Bedner. Just outside, ball two. 2-0 the count now to Addie Schneider. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Bedner, from Bedner. In there, strike one called. 2-1 the count now to Addie Schneider. Here's the 2-1 pitch. In there, strike two called. 2-2 the count now to Schneider. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Bedner. Swung on and missed, strike three. Fourth punchy of the day for Bedner. That brings to plate number 15, Cam DeBooze. DeBooze struck out in her first at bat back in the first inning. Strike one to DeBooze, who's down early, 0-1. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Bedner. High ball 1, 1-1 the count now to Booze. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Bednar. In there, strike 2 called. 1-2 the count out of the Booze. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, hit to left field deep. Ozenbaugh under it and makes the catch for the second out of the inning.
Fly ball to left field, caught by number 12, via Ozenbaugh. For the second out of the inning. Brings to the plate the designated player number 3.
They'll bring to plate number 3, Lily Maxwell. Maxwell lined out to the third baseman back in the first inning, so she's 0 for 1. Takes strike 1 down early. 0-1. 36 pitches so far from Bednar through 2 2/3. Here's the 0-1 pitch. High ball 1, 1-1 the count now to Maxwell. Here's the 1-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called. 1-2 the count to Maxwell now. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bednar. Fouled off, and the count will remain the same at 1-2. On deck for the Wolves, number 23, Reese Pearson. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Just missed off the plate there. 2-2 the count now to Maxwell. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hitting the air to the shortstop McMurray for out number 3. Heading into the bottom of the third, it's Titans 7, Wolves 0.
A look around the ENC currently in the bottom of the third. Waverly and Lincoln Standing Bear are knotted at 6. Blair in the top of the 5th is 2-0 over Ralston. Top of 4 in Gretna. Gretna is leading Gretna East 1-0. Hastings blanks Lincoln Northwest High School 12-0. Wahoo 10-0 in the top of the third over Bennington. And Elkhorn is leading Omaha Mercy in the top of the third 3-0. Here in the bottom of the third, leadoff hitter for the Titans. Your second baseman, number 1, Ava Schmuddy.
Batting for the Titans here in the bottom of the third inning, it'll be Ava Schmuddy, followed by Kinsey Seabrand and Marley Pavelka. Schmuddy doubled in her first at-bat back in the second inning. She later scored. 1-0 the count to Schmuddy. Paige Asher steps back on the mound. 2-0 the count now to Schmuddy. On deck for the Titans is number 8, Kinsey Seabrant. Titans batted 10 back in the second inning and scored 5 runs. Ball 3 to Schmuddy. 3-0 the count now to Ava Schmuddy. Asher steps back on the mound. Comes set, and here's the 3-0 pitch. In there, strike one called. 3-1 the count now to Schmuddy. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled way down the left field line. Just over where people get their tickets to enter. And the count's now 3-2 to Schmuddy. Here's the payoff pitch. In there, strike 3 called. Schmuddy's rung up looking. Second punch of the day for Paige Asher. And that brings to plate number 8, Kinsey Seabrant, the third baseman. On deck for the Titans is number 4, Marley Pavelka. Ball 1 to Seabrant, who walked back in her first at-bat back in the second inning. Later scored. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Seabrant inside, ball 2. 2-0 the count now to Seabrant. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Low ball 3. 3-0 the count now to Kinsey Seabrant. Asher already got 33 pitches on the day so far. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Inside, ball 4, and Seabrant's on the 4-pitch walk. That brings to plate number 4, Marley Pavelka, who flew out to the catcher back in the second inning, so she's 0 for 1. Here's the first pitch to Pavelka. In the dirt, ball 1, 1-0 the count to Marley Pavelka. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike 1 called. 1-1 the count now to Pavelka. Bunt is fouled off, and it's 1-2 the count out of Pavelka. Asher steps back on the mound, and here's the 1-2 pitch to Marley Pavelka. In there, strike 3 called. Third punch of the day for Asher. That'll bring to plate the leadoff hitter, number 2, Reese Behrens. Barons is 2 for 2 with a single in the first and a double in the second. She scored both times. First pitch to Barons. Taken for a ball, 1-0 the count to Reese Barons. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Inside, ball 2, 2-0 the count out of Barons. Asher steps back on the mound. And here's the 2-0 pitch. In there, strike 1 called, 2-1 the count out of Barons. On deck for the Titans is number 7, Liv Mackey. Here's the 2-1 pitch. In the dirt, ball 3, 3-1 the count now to Barons with Sebran on first and 2 outs. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Swung on, hit through the gap to the right fielder. Sebran's going to third. The throw is not in time, and it's runners on the corners and 2 outs for the Titans.
2-out single, advancing the runner to third, brings to the plate.
That brings to plate number 7, Liv Mackey. 2 outs and runners at the corners for Mackey. Titans in the lead, 7-0. Asher steps back on the mound. Here's the first pitch to Mackey, who struck out when she faced Asher back in the second inning and struck out in the first also. So she's 0 for 2 on the day. 1-0 the count to Mackey. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike 1 called. 1-1 the count now to Mackey. Here's the 1-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called. 1-2 the count now to Mackey. Asher steps back on the mound, and here's the 1-2 pitch. Barron's on the move down to second, and she'll get in there safely. 2-2 the count now to Mackey. Runners on second and third, and 2 outs. It was a good throw from the catcher, Reese Pearson. Here's the 2-2 pitch. High ball 3, full count out of Mackey with Myra Carlo on deck for the Titans. Here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, hit to the first baseman, and it's through. 1 run will score. Barons comes around third. She gets about halfway, a couple steps down the line. Relay throw goes over to a third where they get Barons. And That'll end the inning. And it's Titans 8, Elkhorn North 0.
In a matchup of top 5 teams in volleyball in the middle school gym, Norris takes the first set 25-15 over Gretna East and currently leads the second set 9-2.
Batting for the Wolves here in the top of the fourth inning, it'll be Reese Pearson followed by Paige Asher and Kelsey Daubert.
Playing for the Wolves in the top of the fourth, your catcher number 23, Reese Pearson.
Over in the middle school competition gym, the Titan Dome. It's Class B top 5 teams volleyball. It's Norris versus Gretna East. Norris took the first set 25-15 and is last heard currently leading 9-2 in the second set. Back over to softball. Pearson is 0 for 1 with a strikeout back in the first inning. She takes a strike to and falls behind early 0-1. Count to Reese Pearson. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled, and the count will be 0-2 now to Pearson. After today, both Elkhorn North and Norris are off to the EMC tournament, which runs through Thursday through Saturday, or the 11th through the 13th. 1-2 the count now to Pearson. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. The 5th punch of the day for Bednar. That brings plate number 13, Paige Asher. First pitch to Asher is a strike. 0-1 the count to Paige Asher. Asher's 1 for 1 with a single back in the second inning. Here's the 0-1 pitch. High ball 1-1 the count now to Asher. Bednar comes set, and here's the 1-1 pitch. Outside, ball 2. 2-1 the count now to Asher. Here's the 2-1 pitch. In there, strike 2. 2-2 the count now to Asher, with Kelsey Daubert on deck for the Wolves. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hip the middle. Hits off of Bednar. Seabrandt's got it over to first. In time for the second out of the inning. What a play. Comebacker hit off of Bednar. Ricocheted off to Seabrandt, who throws it over to the first baseman, Carlo, for the second out of the inning. And McMurray's going to check with his pitcher, Bednar. Looks like she's okay. That'll bring to plate number 40, Kelsey Daubert, who reached on a fielder's choice back in the second inning. Here's the first pitch to Daubert. Low ball 1-0 with a count to Kelsey Daubert. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Bednar. Low ball 2-0 the count now to Daubert. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Swung on, hit down the right field line, but foul, and it's 2-1 the count now to Daubert. With Delaney Fallon on deck for the Wolves. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on, hip the middle. Stopped by Bednar over to first in time for the third out of the inning. And heading into the bottom of the fourth, it's Titans 8, Wolves 0.
In the bottom of the fourth, Waverly holds an 8-7 lead over Lincoln Standing Bear. Blair 3-0 over Ralston in the bottom of the sixth. Gretna extends the lead over Gretna East in the top of the fifth to 2-0. Again, Hastings blanks Lincoln Northwest 12-0. Wahoo leads Bennington 12-3 in the bottom of the third, and Elkhorn up 3-1 on Omaha Mercy. For Elkhorn North fans and Norris Titan fans, just a reminder that EMC seating will be released at noon tomorrow. It's an 11-team tournament with the top 5 receiving byes on Thursday. 6-11, 7-10, and 8-9 will play play-in games on Thursday night, with the top 8 advancing to Saturday at Hastings. The 3 losing teams from Thursday's games will play a triangular on Saturday as well. So again, 11-team tournament. The top 5 receive byes. 3 play-in games on Thursday night. That seeding will come out tomorrow at noon. Up in the bottom of the fourth, your first baseman, number 16, Myra.
Batting for the Titans here in the bottom of the fourth inning, it'll be Myra Carlo, followed by Haley McMurray and Leah Ozenbaugh. Titans up 8-0 here in the bottom of the fourth inning. And over in volleyball, in the second set, Titans are up 18-6 and won the first set 25-15. Carlo flew out to the left fielder in the first and singled in the second. Here's the first pitch to Myra Carlo. In there, strike 1. 0-1 the count to Myra Carlo, with Paige Asher still on the mound for the Wolves. Here's the 0-1 pitch. High ball 1-1 the count now to Paige Asher. Asher steps off the mound, checks the scouting report. Comes set, and here's the 1-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called. 1-2 the count now to Carlo. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Outside ball 2, 2-2 the count now to Carlo. On deck for the Titans is number 15, Haley McMurray. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and foul into the netting. And the count will remain the same at 2-2. Sorry about this being so late. Now in right field for the Wolves, number 1, Ava Euchman. Full count to Carlo now. Here's the payoff pitch. In there, strike 3 called, and Carlo is rung up on strikes.
Called out on strikes for the first out of the inning.
That brings plate number 15, Haley McMurray, who walked in the second and had a 2-run home run in the first. Here's the first pitch to McMurray. High ball 1, 1-0 the count to Haley McMurray. Asher steps back on the mound, and here's the 1-0 pitch. Inside, ball 1, ball 2, 2-0 the count now to McMurray. Asher, looking at the report, comes to the mound. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Inside, ball 3, 3-0 the count out of McMurray. With Leah Ozenbaugh on deck for the Titans. Nobody on, 1 out for McMurray. Asher steps back on the mound, and here's the 3-0 pitch. In there, strike 1, 3-1 the count out of McMurray. Looking for the sign, and here's the 3-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled off, and it's now 3-2 to McMurray. Asher looking for the sign. She comes set, and here's the payoff pitch to McMurray. Swung on and fouled straight back, and the count will remain the same at 3-2. McMurray still hasn't stepped in the box yet. Getting a few more balls. Titans take set 2 in volleyball over in the Titan Dome, 25-15. McMurray's rung up on strikes.
McMurray strikes out for the second out of the inning, bringing it to plate.
5th punchy of the day for
Your left fielder, Leah
Paige
Ozenbaugh.
Asher, and that brings plate number 12, Leah Ozenbaugh. Here's the first pitch to Ozenbaugh. In there, strike 1, 0-1 the count to Ozenbaugh, who struck out in the first and doubled in the second. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Ozenbaugh. In there, strike 2 called, 0-2 the count out to Ozenbaugh. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Inside, ball 1, 1-2 the count out to Ozenbaugh. Asher's looking for the sign. She comes set, and here's the 1-2 pitch. fouled it off, and Ozenbaugh stays alive at 1-2 count with Keelan Yelkin on deck for the Titans. Nobody on, 2 outs for Ozenbaugh. Asher comes set. Here's the 1-2 pitch. That one stuck in the hands a little bit and flew over the umpire, and it's 2-2 the count now to Ozenbaugh. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Ozenbaugh goes down on strikes. Asher strikes out the side in the 4th, and heading into the top of the 5th, it's Titans 8, Wolves 0.
As we head to the top of the 5th, Norris leads 8-0. Update from Norris Middle School, again in a battle of top 5 teams. Norris takes the second set, 25-15, leads the match 2-0. The third set is just beginning. Again, from around the MC update, top 5, Waverly still leads Lincoln Standing Bear 8-7. In the top of the 7th, Blair 4-0 over Ralston. Gretna 2-0 over Gretna East in the bottom of the 5th. And Wahoo 12-3 over Bennington in the bottom of the 4th. And Elkhorn extends the lead over Mercy in the bottom of the 4th, 4-1.
Batting for the Wolves here in the top of the 5th inning, it'll be number 17, Delaney Phelan, followed by Peyton Johnson and Naomi Cameron. Phelan singled back in the 2nd inning. Here's the first pitch to Delaney Phelan. In there, strike 1 called. 0-1 the count to Delaney Phelan. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Bednar. Inside, ball 1, 1-1 the count now to Phelan. Swung on, hit to the right fielder, and Phelan's on with a leadoff single here in the top of the 5th inning.
From Phelan. Brings to plate number 22.
That brings to plate number 22,
Second baseman
Peyton Johnson, the second baseman for the Wolves. She sack bunted back in the 2nd inning. Swung on and missed, strike 1 for Johnson. 0-1 the count to Peyton Johnson. Here's the 0-1 pitch. One and one the count now to Johnson. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Flies by the catcher Mackey, and Phelan's going to head down to second on the pass ball. And it's 2-1 the count now to Johnson. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled, and it's 2-2 the count now to Johnson. Johnson steps back in there. Bednar comes set, and here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3.
strikeout. For the first out.
Bedner's sixth punchy of the night. Brings the plate number 30. Callie Nielsen in to replace Naomi Cameron. Runners on second for Nielsen. First pitch to Nielsen's a ball. 1-0 the count to Callie Nielsen. High ball two, and that will get by Mackey, and Phelan's going to move on down to third on the pass ball. 2-0 the count now to Nielsen. Who's batting 222 on the year for the freshman. 2 hits in 9 at-bats, 6 runs, 2 RBIs. 2-1 now the count to Nielsen. Bedner comes set. Here's the 2-1 pitch with a runner on third and 1 out. Outside, ball 3. 3-1 the count now to Nielsen with Addie Schneider on deck. I believe if the Titans get out of this with no runs allowed, they will win the game on a mercy rule. Grounded up the middle. Bedner's bobbles it. And that'll score a run. And so it's now 8-1 in favor of the Titans.
Number 30, Nielsen.
That'll bring plate number 4, Addie Schneider. Schneider struck out back in the third inning. So she's 0 for 1.
Brings the plate number 4.
1-0 the count to Addie Schneider. Runner on first and 1 out for Schneider. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike 1. 1-1 the count now to Schneider with top of the lineup and Cam DeBooz on deck. Titans will have Keelan Yelkin, Ava Schmuddy, and Kenzie Seabrand in the bottom of the 5th. 6, 7, 8. In there, strike 2. 1-2 the count now to Schneider. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on, hit to down the line, but foul, and it's will remain the same at 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bedner. High ball 2. 2-2 the count now to Schneider. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Bedner. Swung on, hit to the third baseman, and that'll get through. And Nielsen's going to stop at second. And that'll bring to plate the top of the lineup in number 15, Cam DeBooz.
Single by Schneider brings to the plate.
Runners on first and second for DeBooz.
Cam DeBooz.
Here comes out Kyle McMurray to talk with Embry Bedner. Like to take this time to mention our sponsors. A big thank you goes out to our NSTV broadcast sponsors, and Bruns Construction, Gaina Trucking and Excavating, Norris Association of Educators, First State Bank, Impact Athletics, Renee Goodard with Remax Concepts, Genesis Contracting, Sandy Shields with Nebraska Realty, Scott Cohote with Mutual of Omaha, Price's Tree Farm, Proformance Physical Therapy, Pro Swip Solutions, U-Stop, Venue 522, and the Norris Athletic Booster Club. Also, special thanks to Hausman Construction for being our scoreboard sponsor, and to ProVision Chiropractic and Wellness for sponsoring our replays. If you are enjoying tonight's free broadcast, please consider donating to us through our PayPal account. Links to donate can be found in the description of our videos or by visiting our website at norris160.org/NSTV. Donors will be mentioned in our future broadcasts. Donors of $25 or more will receive a free NSTV t-shirt. 0-1 the count to Cam DeBooze. Outside ball 1-1 the count now to DeBooze. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swung on, hit in the air to center field. Pavelka's moving in under it. It'll be bobbled by McMurray. Throw to third is in time for the second out of the inning. So it'll be a fielder's choice for Cam DeBooze.
To Seabrand for the second out of the inning. Brings to the plate number 3.
That brings plate number 3, Lily Maxwell. For potentially the third out of the inning. I have no clue what is happening. Runners are still on first and second. Titans brought everyone in. And there goes the Wolves out to... Looks like they're going to go out and field. And the Elkhorn North coach is talking it over. They called the infield fly rule on the Elkhorn North, and it was and it bobbled. And obviously, apparently somewhere they tagged or second, and for the third out of the inning. So it's an inning double play on a fly ball. So going in the bottom of the fifth, it's Titans 8, Elkhorn North 1.
We head to the bottom of the fifth for the Titans leading off.
Batting for the Titans here in the bottom of the fifth inning, it'll be Keelan Yelkin, followed by Eva Schmuddy and Kinsey Seabrant. Yelkin is walked in the second and flew out to the second baseman in the second. Takes ball 1-0 the count to Keelan Yelkin. Paige Asher still on the mound for the Wolves. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike one called, 1-1 the count now to Yelkin. Here's the 1-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called, and it's 1-2 the count now to Yelkin. Here's the 1-2 pitch. And that'll hit about 5 feet short of the plate. And it'll be 2-2 the count now to Yelkin. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Just outside, ball 3. Full count now to Yelkin. With Ava Schmuddy on deck for the Titans. Nobody on, nobody out. Asher at 74 pitches. Here's the 75th one. Fouled off, and the count will remain the same at 3-2 as Yelkin stays alive. Asher looking for the sign. She steps on to the mound, and here's the payoff pitch. Swung on, hitting the air to center field. Fouling under it and makes the catch for the first out of the inning. That'll bring to plate number 1, Ava Schmuddy.
Bringing to the plate, your second baseman, number 1, Ava Schmuddy.
Schmuddy doubled in the second and struck out in the third. Here's the payout. Here's the first pitch to Schmuddy. High ball 1. 1-0 the count to Ava Schmuddy. Asher steps back on the mound. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike 1 called. 1-1 the count to Ava Schmuddy. Here's the 1-1 pitch. High ball 2. 2-1 the count now to Schmuddy. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on, hit down the left field line. Fair ball, rolls into the corner. Schmuddy's going to go into second with a stand-up double. And the Titans have a runner on first and runner on second and 1 out for number 8, Kinsey Seabrant. Seabrant walked twice in the second and the third. Here's the first pitch to Seabrant. In there, strike 1. 0-1 the count to Kinsey Seabrant. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 2. 0-2 the count to Seabrant. Here's the 0-2 pitch. High ball 1, 1-2 the count now to Seabrant. Runner on second, 1 out for the Titans. And Marley Pavelka on deck for the Titans also. Asher steps back on the mound. And here's the 1-2 pitch. In there, strike 3 called. And that'll be the second out of the inning, and that'll bring to plate number 4, Marley Pavelka, who flew out to the catcher in the second and struck out in the third. Reese Barron's on deck for the Titans. Runner on second, 2 outs now. Asher at 84 pitches. Here's the first pitch to Pavelka. In there, strike one called. 0-1 the count to Marley Pavelka. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Asher when she gets on there. Here's the 0-1 pitch. In there, strike two called. 0-2 the count now to Pavelka. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Pavelka. Swung on and missed, strike three. And heading into the top of the sixth inning, it's Titans 8, Wolves 1.
In the bottom of the fifth. Heading to the top of the sixth, Norris 8, Elkhorn North 1. Just went final at Norris Middle School in a battle of top 5 teams. Norris wins the third and sweeps the match 25-19. Norris improves to 8-0 and will be back in action Thursday at York. Updates from the EMC. Waverly still owns a 10-7 lead over Standing Bear in the top of the sixth. Blair has won 4-0 over Ralston. Top of the seventh, Gretna over Gretna East 3-0. Final from Wahoo 13, Bennington 3, and Elkhorn still leads Mercy 6-1 in the bottom of the fifth.
Batting for the Wolves here in the top of the sixth inning, it'll be Lily Maxwell followed by Reese Pearson and Paige Asher. 2-3-4 for the Wolves here in the top of the sixth inning. Titans lead 8-1. Here's the first pitch to Maxwell. Low ball 1-0 the count to Lily Maxwell. Bednar at 77 pitches so far today. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Sorry, the 1-0 pitch. In there, strike one. 1-1 the count now to Maxwell. With Reese Pearson on deck for the Wolves. Titans playing in. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Bednar. In there, strike two called. And it's a 1-2 count to Maxwell. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled back, and the count remained the same at 1-2. Maxwell steps out of the box. Steps back in, and here's the 1-2 pitch from Bednar. Just missed, ball 2. 2-2 the count now to Lily Maxwell. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. And that'll bring to plate number 23, Reese Pearson.
Axel strikes out swinging for the first out of the inning. Brings to plate number 23, catcher Reese Pearson.
Pearson's 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts in the first and the fourth. Here's the first pitch to Pearson. Punted to the pitcher, Bednar over to first in time for the second out of the inning. That'll bring to plate number 13, Paige Asher.
Bednar to Carlo for the second out of the inning. Brings to plate pitcher number 13, Paige Asher.
Asher singled in the second and grounded out to the shortstop in the fourth. Ball 1 to Asher. 1-0 the count to Paige Asher. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Bednar. Swung on, hit down the right field line, but foul, and it's 1-2 now to Asher, with nobody on and 2 outs for the Wolves. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Bednar. In there, strike 2 called. 1-2 the count now to Paige Asher. Here's the 1-2 pitch. High ball 2. 2-2 the count now to Asher. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Bednar. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Bednar strikes out 2 in that inning, and heading into the bottom of the 6th, it's Titans 8, Wolves 1.
Top of the 6th as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Norris 8, Elkhorn North 1.
Batting for the Titans here in the bottom of the 6th inning, it'll be Reese Behrens, followed by Liv Mackey and Myra Carlo. 1, 2, 3 for the Titans. Behrens up to bat for the Titans here in the bottom of the 6th. She's 3 for 3 with a single in the first, a double in the second, and a single in the third. Titans need 1 run for the mercy rule. Asher still on the mound, and here's the first pitch to Reese Behrens. Swung on and missed, strike 1. 0-1 the count to Reese Behrens. Asher steps on the mound, and here's the 0-1 pitch. Inside, ball 1, 1-1 the count now to Reese Behrens, with Liv Mackey on deck. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Outside, ball 2. 2-1 the count now to Behrens. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Just outside, ball 3. 3-1 the count now to Behrens. Here's the 3-1 pitch. Inside, ball 4, and Behrens is on with the walk. That'll bring to the plate the catcher, number 7, Liv Mackey. Runner on first, nobody out for the Titans. Here comes out Kyle McMurray to talk with the umpire. And it looks like it'll be a courtesy runner. Number 6,
for the Titans,
Kylie Rowland.
Kylie Rowland.
Mackey's 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts in the first and the second and a walk in the third. Here's the first pitch to Liv Mackey. Inside, ball 1, 1-0 with a count to Liv Mackey, with Myra Carlo on deck for the Titans. Here's the 1-0 pitch. High ball 2, 2-0 the count out of Mackey. Here's the 2-0 pitch from Asher. Swung on, hitting the air to center field. That ball is deep. And it'll be caught by the center field, bobbled. And everyone's safe. And I think they'll be out because Mackey's standing on second right now. Roland's standing on first. So the ball was in the air. The center fielder went up to catch it. Roland thought the ball was caught, so she went back to first. She'll be out. But Mackey will be on second with a double. And that'll bring to the plate number 16, Myra Carlo.
For the first out of the inning, brings to the plate number 16, first baseman Myra Carlo.
And the Elkhorn North coaches are discussing with the umpires. So runner on second, 1 out. Carlo up to bat for the Titans. Myra Carlo is 1 for 3 with a flyout to the left fielder in the first, a strikeout in the fourth, and a single in the second. Here's the first pitch to Carlo. Low ball 1. 1-0 the count to Myra Carlo. In to run for the Titans, number 13, Hayden Shubhakel. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Asher. Inside, ball 2. 2-0 the count now to Carlo. Asher comes set, and here's the 2-0 pitch. Fouled off the bat of Myra Carlo, and the count will be 2-1 now. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Low ball 3. 3-1 the count now to Carlo. With Haley McMurray on deck for the Titans. Here's the 3-1 pitch from Asher. Pitch number 100. And it's a walk to Carlo. Puts runners on first and second for McMurray.
Shortstop number 15, Haley McMurray.
Runners on first and second, and 1 out for the Titans here in the bottom of the 6th. Here's the first pitch to McMurray. In there, strike one called. 0-1 the count to Haley McMurray, who homered in her first at bat back in the first inning, walked in the second, and struck out in the fourth. Asher at 101 pitches. Here's the 0-1 pitch. High ball 1-1 the count now to McMurray. Here's the 1-1 pitch. In there, strike two called. 1-2 the count now to McMurray. Asher steps on the mound, and here's the 1-2 pitch. Outside ball 2-2 the count now to McMurray, with Leah Ozenbaugh on deck for the Titans. One out, runners on first and second for McMurray, and here's the 2-2 pitch from Asher. Swung on and missed, strike three. 2 outs now here in the bottom of the 6th, and that'll bring up Leah Ozenbaugh. Ozenbaugh's 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts in the first and the fourth and a double in the second. Asher steps on the mound, and here's the first pitch to Leah Ozenbaugh. Swung on and fouled back. 0-1 the count to Leah Ozenbaugh. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Low, 1-1 the count now to Ozenbaugh. Runners on first and second for the Titans, 2 outs, with Keelan Yelkin on deck for the Titans. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Inside, ball 2-1 the count now to Ozenbaugh. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Paige Asher. Inside, ball 3-1 the count now to Ozenbaugh. Asher comes set, and here's the 3-1 pitch to Ozenbaugh. Inside, ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Keelan Yelkin.
Loading the bases, bringing to the plate, right fielder number 10, Keelan Yelkin.
Yelkin walked in the second, flew out to the second baseman in the second, and flew out to the center fielder in the fifth. Here's the first pitch to Yelkin. Outside, ball 1-0 the count to Keelan Yelkin, with Ava Schmuddy on deck for the Titans. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swung on, hit to the shortstop. She's got it over to first. In time for the third out of the inning. And heading into the top of the 7th, it's Titans 8. Elkhorn North Wolves 1.
Elkhorn grounds out to short to end the 6th inning as we head to the top of the 7th. Norris 8, Elkhorn North 1. 2 games went final in the EMC. Waverly defeats Standing Bear 10-7, and Gretna defeats Gretna East 3-1. And currently in the bottom of the 6th, Elkhorn High is leading 12-1 over Omaha Mercy.
Batting for the Wolves here in the top of the 7th inning, it'll be Kelsey Daubert, followed by Delaney Fallon and Peyton Johnson. So batting for the Wolves will be number 40, Kelsey Daubert, who is 0 for 2 with a fielder's choice in the 2nd and a ground out to the pitcher in the 4th. And here's the first pitch to Daubert. Swung on, hit into the gap, and that'll get down for a base hit. Daubert's going to round the first and head to second. Throw to second is not in time. And Daubert's on with a leadoff double. That'll bring to plate number 17, Delaney Phelan.
Center fielder, Delaney Phelan.
Courtesy running for Daubert, number 16. Leah Jefferson. So Delaney Fallon up to bat for the Wolves. Takes strike 1, 0-1 the count to Delaney Fallon, who reached on it, singled in the 2nd, and singled in the 5th, and later scored the Wolves' only run. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swung on and fouled off, and the count's now 0-2 to Fallon, with Peyton Johnson on deck for the Wolves. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Bednar. High ball 1-2 the count now to Phelan. Here's the 1-2 pitch from Bednar. Low ball 2-2 the count now to Phelan. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Bednar. Swung on, hit to the shortstop, McMurray, and that'll go into left field, and 1 run will score.
Scoring for the Wolves, Leah Jefferson making the score 8-2.
So it's 8-2 now, with Fallon on first. Bring to plate number 22, Peyton Johnson. Here's the first pitch to Johnson. Low ball 1-0 the count to Johnson. One and one the count now to Johnson. With Naomi Cameron, sorry. Number 30, Callie Nielsen on deck for the Wolves. High ball 2. 2-1 the count now to Johnson. Sorry, it is number 24, Naomi Cameron, on deck for the Wolves. Here's the 2-1 pitch. In there, strike 2 called. 2-2 the count now to Johnson. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung. And the umpire said she didn't go. And it's a full count now to Peyton Johnson. And the Titans fans did not like that call. And here's the payoff pitch from Embry Bednar. Swung on, hitting the center. Pavelka's back, and it'll hit off the top of the wall. And it'll be runners at second and third, and nobody out for the Wolves.
A double by Johnson brings to the plate.
And that'll bring to plate number 24, Naomi Cameron. Titans have yet to record an out here in the the top of the 7th. Coach McMurray is going to go talk with his pitcher. So Naomi Cameron's up for the Wolves. She had one at bat tonight. She struck out in the second. Runners on second and third, nobody out for the Wolves. Titans up 8-2. Here's the first pitch to Cameron. Swung on, hit up the middle. It'll get through, and it'll be 8-4 now. And going to second is Cameron. And the Wolves have scored 3 runs here in the top of the 7th.
Addie Schneider.
That brings plate number 4, Addie Schneider. And that looks to be Bednar's day, as McMurray's out for another talk on the mound. And that will be Bednar's day. Here comes out Reese Behrens to come pitch for the Titans. Bednar will be responsible for the runner on second. Big thank you once again goes out to our NSTV broadcast sponsors: and Bruns Construction, Gana Trucking and Excavating, Norris Association of Educators, First State Bank, Impact Athletics, Renee Goodhart with Remax Concepts, Genesis Contracting, Sandy Shields with Nebraska Realty, Scott Cohote with Mutual of Omaha, Price's Tree Farm, Proformance Physical Therapy, Pro Swip Solutions, U-Stop Venue 522, and the Norris Athletic Booster Club. Also, special thanks goes to Hausman Construction for being our scoreboard sponsor, and to Provision Chiropractic and Wellness for sponsoring our replays. If you are enjoying tonight's free broadcast, please consider donating to us through our PayPal account. Links to donate can be found in the description of our videos or by visiting our website at norris160.org/NSTV. Donors will be mentioned in our future broadcast. Donors of $25 or more will receive a free NSTV t-shirt. So Addie Schneider up to bat for the Wolves. She singled in the 5th and struck out in the 3rd. 0-1 the count to Schneider on the foul ball. Wolves have come storming back. It's 8-4 with a runner on second. High ball 1-1 the count now to Schneider. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Barons. Low ball 2-1 the count now to Schneider. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on, hitting the air to right. That was Yelkin out there making the catch for the first out of the inning. And it'll be runner on second, 1 out for the top of the lineup in number 15, Cam DeBooze.
Records the first out of the inning. Brings to the plate number 15.
2 more outs now for the Wolves. Here in the top of the 7th. Low ball 1-0 the count to Cam DeBooze. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swung on, ripped down the third base line, but foul. 1-1 the count now to DeBooze.
15, Cam DeBooze.
Here's the 1-1 pitch. Inside ball 2-1 the count now to DeBooze. With Lily Maxwell on deck. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Barons. Swung on, ripped down the third base line, but foul, and the count's now 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hit down the left field line, but foul. And that was pretty close to being fair. And the count will remain the same at 2-2. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Swung on, hit to left. Ozenbaugh under it, and makes the catch for the second out of the inning. And that'll bring to the plate number 3, Lily Maxwell. Maxwell is 0 for 3 with a line out to the third baseman in the first, a line out to the shortstop in the third, and a strikeout in the 6th. Wolves are down to their last out. Maxwell takes ball 1-0 the count to Lily Maxwell. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike 1. 1-1 the count now to Lily Maxwell. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Outside, ball 2. 2-1 the count now to Maxwell. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swung on, hit to left. Ozenbaugh on the run and makes the catch for the final out of the inning. Titans win 8-4. Wolves get 3 in the 9th, but the Titans slam the door, and it's 8-4 win for the Titans. Both teams will be back in action through the later this week in the Amsterdam Midlands Conference Champion Tournament. Next game, home game for the Titans, I'll be here on the 18th of September when the Titans face 7-8 Elkhorn. Until next time, I'm Mitchell Severson. Thank you for watching.